Welcome to What's the Narrative podcast. My name is Raphael, aka ROWDY. Just a quick disclaimer, some of the discussions and conversation we'll be having here will be quite graphic at some instances. If you are squeamish or have any sort of personal relations to it that may affect you in any form, shape of any sort, please turn away now. And yeah, here we go.
Hello everyone, I just want to introduce the guest that we have today for our podcast. So we have David Kirby. I'm not going to say much, I'll just introduce you guys and then you can introduce yourselves formally. We have Kimberly Lamb and we have Liz Mead. So, yeah.
Shall I start first?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so Kimberly Lamb and I'm the head of the Violence and Exploitation Reduction Unit for Bedfordshire.
So I'm Dave Kirby. I am, what am I? I'm a consultant in emergency medicine, so pretty much I'm a doctor who works in A&E.
And I'm Liz Mead. I'm a Detective Chief Superintendent at Bedfordshire Police. I'm Head of Crime and Public Protection.
Welcome guys. So what we're sort of going to do is we're going to delve down into sort of your personal job roles, top line, and then sort of go into the personal side of things in terms of what you have to deal with, the effects of sort of youth violence in your personal life, how we can do better, potentially, hopefully, aiming for, and go from there. So some of the guys have a few questions that I would like to pose to you, and we sort of start from there really. Samara, do you want to go first? You've got a couple of questions.
Yeah, so I'll start with Liz.
Okay.
Please. I have a question for you. I have a few for you actually.
Oh, do you?
I'll ease you in. I'll start with one. So, can you just explain a little bit about your role? So obviously you've said that you're head of crime, but what do you actually, I know it kind of is a little bit self-explanatory, but kind of what kind of things do you do?
Okay, so I started at Bedfordshire Police 30 years ago, here in Luton actually. So I did the uniform patrol bit here, but I always wanted to not have to wear the uniform, if I'm honest with you. I'm a detective through and through. I think when people say what was always the thing you wanted to do. So from the age of 8, I wanted to be a detective. And my dream came true, I suppose. I'm fortunate to be able to do that. And I was a detective constable here in Luton. And then I worked my way up the ranks to become the highest ranking detective in the force, which is the head of crime and the head of public protection. So head of crime, what does that do? So I have around a team of 300 people, a mixture of detectives, investigation officers. We've tried to do some things slightly differently because we do realise that it's not always the right thing to have police officers talking to people, but actually let's use some of the experiences other people have got. Like we have victim engagement officers who deal with the domestic abuse side of policing, because actually quite a lot of those victim engagement officers have worked potentially in refuges and they understand, so they're coming at it from a different perspective. Because I think if we always do what we've always got, we'll always kind of get the same results, and some of these things don't work, so we have to try and be a bit innovative about how we deal with stuff. So domestic abuse is part of my portfolio. Sexual offending and rape is another part of it. I do have BOSUN, which is Guns and Gangs Unit. I also have all serious crime across the county, but then all what we call lower level crime. So, and that's not to diminish that crime, but we're talking about potentially shoplifting, we're talking about minor assaults, but it's the whole range from a minor assault all the way up to an attempt murder. Then I'm in charge of public protection, which is around child sexual exploitation, around missing people, around child abuse offences, vulnerable adult offences. So really, pretty much everything crime-wise, really.
Okay. Thank you, that answers my question.
Thank you. Did I talk too much?
No, that's fine. I think you're doing
We're
well, to be honest.
Thank you.
David, what about yourself in terms of day-to-day?
What do I do?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, as I said, I'm a doctor. I qualified in medicine in 1996. And I decided to go into emergency medicine because obviously you qualify, you can do GP, you can do surgery, you can do whatever. So I chose emergency medicine, and that's mainly because I've got the shortest attention span in the world. So if I have to do anything that takes more than a couple of hours, I'm instantly bored with it. And as you might guess, in A&E, you do one thing, then another thing happens, then another thing happens. So that kind of suited me. So I trained through that, passed the exams, and then got a job in Luton. And I always tell people I was trying to get to London and got stuck on the motorway, and I've been here ever since. But that's not true. I love Luton. So I work in the emergency department, and most of my work is clinical, so that's actually on the shop floor of ED. And when I'm there, I'm either in charge of the department, so I'm not quite so hands-on with the patients. I'll be giving the other doctors, patients to see, taking advice or giving advice to them and telling them what to do, and managing all of the department at the same time. Other times one of my colleagues will be doing that, and I'll be hands-on either. So my subspecialty, if you like, is paediatric emergency medicine. I might deal mainly with the children. But also in the resource room, when we get sick patients come through, I'll be dealing with those. So a real mixture of being in charge and actually hands-on with individual patients. Yeah.
Wow. Perfect. Kim?
All right, myself. Bit of a tough act to follow, but actually, I guess my job as heading up the Violent Reduction Unit is to, I guess, avoid some of the young people being presenting themselves to Liz's service, and certainly to your emergency department. So what I do, my background, I think, would be first and foremost community relationships, partnership working, working with police as a partner, education, health, all different areas. And I think the Violent Reduction Unit that I head up is all of that. So we are a body that's been set up nationally, so there are 18 of us Violent Reduction Units, and it does what it says on the tin. We're really in place to reduce violence. What we do, we look at things like the causes of the causes, we say. So we like to look at as to why perhaps young people are getting involved in violence. But also I think there is this balance where we recognise as a unit that some of our perhaps suspects, perpetrators are also victims as well. So there's a lot of work around recognising that some of what we see as presented behaviours in young people are as a consequence of things that's happened in the past there. And the unit is there really to prevent these things from happening, but also to recognise sometimes the horse has already bolted. So we work with people who are already known to the criminal justice system, and we support them as well. Our whole idea is to just help people, young people, grow into, I think, fantastic citizens for Bedfordshire, and we recognise that some young people need support, so that's what we do as a unit.